Hello creative people. I have been inspired by watching Vanessa at Up and Growing, making little cute gingerbread figures to add onto fake bakes. In this case, I'm going to put these onto the tops of cookie jars, biscuit jars to sell or as gifts. And I've had a lot of fun playing around, making lots of different characters. Each one comes out completely differently. I'm only an amateur. I'm not as good as Vanessa, so if you want to see, the real thing, I would hop over and check out her channel. But this is me, what I'm doing. A bit of a copycat style, but obviously completely different because they're all unique and individual little creations. But I'm going to just make one for you so you can see roughly what you do. Now, this is a mixture of Model Magic white and I say it Bohs clay, B-O-H-S foam clay in brown, the darker colour that they do. They do two browns. Now, lots of people say they don't like the Model Magic and they prefer the foam clay, but I actually like the fact that the together you get the lightness and moisture from the Bohs foam clay and a bit more stability and structure from the Model Magic. I don't know if you're supposed to mix them, but I have done it quite a lot and not had any problems. It doesn't crack when it dries. So I'm just warming this up because I mixed this last night. This is how you warm it up. I'm sure everyone has seen this a lot already. That's probably good enough. So I'm going to start. Put that away. We're going to start with the body. We'll start by trying to roll that nice and smooth to get rid of all the lines as much as possible. Although I'm not worried about a few lines, you don't notice them when they're done. And then I'm going to roll it on one side into a sort of a cone shape. This is probably going to be a bit too big. I got a bit carried away with my quantities, so I'll trim that. You won't be seeing this top bit because the head will be on it. I'm going to keep rolling that a bit more. Just want to take off those edges at the top. I think that will do for the body. And that actually might be okay for the head. Let me just roll it up and see. Yes, I quite like a fairly big head. It's probably not in scale, but that doesn't bother me too much. And again, as Vanessa does, I'm using cocktail stick, toothpick to hold things together. And of course I've not brought my pliers over to cut it, so I'll just use my scissors. I'm just using an all-purpose Yoo-hoo glue. You could use super glue. It's just that this is cheaper and easier to work with, gives me a bit more time to rearrange things a bit if I want to. Pinch that a bit narrower there. we'll be moving on to the legs. That's a similar technique, and again I've got too much clay. To roll it along. I always tend to make these a bit too chunky, the arms and legs. I don't think it matters too much because, you know, these are just fun characters, so there's not really a right or wrong. But I'm going to just try and reduce them down a bit. Move you over there a minute. The key is to try and get your legs the same sort of size, like thickness and length, and then the same with your arms. There's one leg. And we'll do another one. You stand up there. They'll balance better when they've got the legs on. I mean, I've not had a problem with balance, to be fair. It must be because I'm doing it on the video. Rid of the excess again. You don't have to use scissors on the clay, but again, I've seen various people do tutorials like that, and it was really helpful because you get a cleaner cut, because this clay does tend to kind of stretch, which is not necessarily helpful when you're trying to, you know, cut a sharp edge. I have got clay blades somewhere, but you know, they're never there when I need them. So then we just pop the legs on. But the size, this one's quite a chunky guy because I made the body a bit too big, so I was a bit over enthusiastic. I probably should have done a warm-up gingerbread, but I'm making the most of the bit of time I've got while my smallest person is in nursery. So I just wanted to get going and get the video done. Now we're on to arms. Exactly the same kind of theory, a bigger butt bit at the end for the hands, probably about that long. I mean, you can always stretch them out a bit if they're a bit too short when you put them on, but I tend to find I'm good at making them too long, more often than not. That one's a bit rounder. If the hands aren't exactly the same, it shouldn't matter too much because, well, in my case, they're going to be holding something, which I should have gone and got. I'll try and do that in a minute. That one's a bit longer. There we go. Put that away. Everything goes wrong when I'm on a video. Right, pop the arms around the back here. Yeah, they might be a bit on the short side, but that'll be okay. have your basic gingerbread person shape, don't stick. It's the only thing I don't like about foam clay, is its tendency to stick to itself. Okay, so now we're going to make his face. As you can see on these, I've done a mixture, so we've done like an O open mouth or a smile. Smiles I think are much harder, so I'm just going to do an O mouth. And then decide roughly where I want the eyes. Make a couple of marks. Now, I've seen a lot of people add glue when they're using these resin sticker eyes. And it looks like I've lost one somewhere along the way. Oh, it's down here. Damn. But I've actually found if you push them into the clay, that they, just a little bit, that then you don't necessarily need glue. So first off, I just position them where I want them. Come off my finger. This is normally not too difficult, but like most things, because I'm doing it on a video, it's a bit harder. So I just sort of push them into the clay a bit. And then I've got a bit of my white Model Magic that I added some pink acrylic paint to. And you can have a nose, he, she, or whatever. I haven't actually decided if this one, some of them are obviously one or the other and some of them aren't. So there is the face. And I have most of my, well, all of my gingerbread people holding biscuits, cookies of one sort or another. But I've got some little cookies and things I've pre-made here, and I think I'm going to do something a little bit different, in as much as instead of having him hold a big cookie, I'm going to have him holding a smaller one. I'm not quite sure what I want to do with this side. I might give him something to hold up here. Just want to because this one is being added on top rather than into like the other one. I'm going to put a bit of glue on there. I'm just going to pop that on top of his hand like that. Sure that one's squeezed in well. And then we can decide if we want to do a chocolate drip like I've done here around the gingerbread, or if we want to do icing. I haven't quite decided yet, So I think we will leave him as he is, like this. You get the idea of all the options you can do. And then when they've dried, or even before they've dried, you can add these little guys into your fake bakes. Again, as Vanessa does, pops a cocktail stick into the bottom with glue and then glues the other end into whatever it is you're using these guys for. But hopefully somebody found that interesting or useful, and if you did, I would appreciate you liking, sharing, subscribing, etc. to my very new YouTube channel, where I try and share my creative ideas, things, stuff that I make and sell. Any thoughts on what you'd like to see, drop me a comment, and hopefully I will see you again soon. Bye.